What it do, baby?
Hey, what's going on?
Guys, everybody, welcome to Sports Drip Live. Yes, brought to you by JCA Sports. Alongside my brother Enrique Contreras, I am Jose Contreras, and what a show do we have for you guys today? First and foremost, Rick, are you ready for this one, man? It's crazy.
Man, I've been ready all day. I mean, ever since the after the weekend, man, I've been waiting to talk about this crazy chaotic weekend that we had in pro wrestling.
literally, literally, wrestling, UFC, you name it. We have it all. We're talking about it all. And let's start off with AEW, Ricky. As looks like CM Punk and the Young Bucks, Kenny Omega, and much more have been suspended. Well, at least we don't know yet about CM Punk. His fate still lies in the balance, but we know for sure Kenny Omega and the Young Bucks have been suspended and stripped from their titles, which they just won on Sunday. The trios championship. They were
Right.
stripped. They were suspended. CM Punk was also stripped of the AEW championship. There's rumors saying that he's injured, but what we do know is that he's going to either likely be suspended or released
Yep.
from AEW. And for all those who are watching, like, what the hell's going on? Why? Let,
Let's
let,
let's take them back. Go ahead.
let's take. Well, I could show you better than I could tell you, courtesy of AEW and the media scrum. Here is a clip. I'll play. I have 3 minutes of this. We'll play the first. We'll play 3 minutes of what CM Punk, and then afterwards we'll go into why he said it. But first and foremost, let's go ahead and add it to.
Okay, so you fancy yourself a journalist. Would you say you're friends with Scott Colton? So you're not friends with him? Oh, wow. Well, that makes two of us. My point is, if you fancy yourself a journalist, even if it's for the silly world of professional wrestling, and you have journalistic integrity, people who report things mostly that are bullshit and slanderous lies against myself. If you are friends with somebody, you blew my spot. If you're not friends with them, I apologize. But you should probably disclose who you're friends with. I haven't had anything to do with Scott Colton in almost a decade. Probably wanted nothing to do with him even longer than that. It's fucking unfortunate that I have to come up here and speak on this when I'm on my time and this is a fucking business. Why I'm a grown-ass adult man and I decide not to be friends with somebody is nobody else's fucking business. But my friends, if I fall backwards, will catch me. Scott Colton, I felt, never would have. My problem was I wanted to bring a guy with me to the top that did not want to see me at the top. Okay? You call it jealousy, you call it envy, whatever the fuck it is. My relationship with Scott Colton ended long before I paid all of his bills. I have every receipt. I have every invoice. I have every email. I have the email where he says, and I quote, "I agree to go our separate ways. I will get my own lawyer and you do not have to pay anymore." That's an email that I have. The only reason the public did not see is because when I finally had to countersue him through discovery, we discovered he shared a bank account with his mother. That's a fact. And as soon as we discovered that fact and we subpoenaed old Marcia, he sent the email, "Oh, can we please drop all this?" Now, it's 2022. I haven't been friends with this guy since at least 2014, late 2013. And the fact that I have to sit up here because we have irresponsible people who call themselves EVPs and couldn't fucking manage a target, and they spread lies and bullshit and put into a media that I got somebody fired when I have fuck all to do with him. Want nothing to do with him. Do not care where he works, where he doesn't work, where he eats, where he sleeps. And the fact that I have to get up here and do this in 2022 is fucking embarrassing. And if y'all are at fault, fuck you. If you're not, I apologize. But what did I ever do in this world to deserve an empty-headed fucking dumb fuck like Hangman Adam Page to go out on national television and fucking go into business for himself? For what? What did I do, Dave? What did I ever do?
Whew. What didn't he do, Ricky, at that media scrum? He literally aired out every dirty laundry there was behind the scenes for AEW. There were so many dirt sheets and so many reports of rumored turmoil between talent backstage,
Yeah.
and we literally just got everything at that post conference from All Out, which basically negated a great pay per view. By the way, and we'll get into the pay per view.
Yeah.
But nobody's talking about the pay per view anymore because of what happened afterwards. And even after that, more happened. And I'm sorry, I paused because I was like, wait, maybe before I even get into that, let's explain why it even happened. And I seen the beginning of this press conference.
Yeah.
He was not asked about Scott Colton at all.
No.
The
No, he
first
wasn't.
the first reporter that was going to ask him a question, I don't know if Punk had some kind of beef with him, but he knew he knew that reporter was linked to Scott Colton, which is Colt Cabana for those who don't know.
Right. Yeah, that's exactly why he he brought that up, because he knew that this was a friend or a former friend of Colt Cabana's.
Yeah, and it's crazy. Ricky, do you want to explain what is it between Colt Cabana and CM Punk
I
that
mean,
got CM Punk so riled up?
the as far as the history between the two, I
Yeah,
mean, this goes back when CM Punk walked out on WWE. This probably was what, 2014. He walked out on WWE, and then he went on. At the time, Colt Cabana had a podcast. CM Punk, both guys were best friends, both coming up from Ring of Honor and in the Indies, so they were best friends at the time. So he went on his podcast, and he basically did what he basically did what he did right here at this press conference for like about an hour or two. I think it went 2 episodes where he was basically going off on everybody backstage in WWE, everything that he went through. He was talking about Vince McMahon, Triple H, Stephanie McMahon, a doctor that misdiagnosed a MRSA infection with him and pretty much almost got him killed from what he says. And so that's basically what he was saying. He was saying that he was being misused. He was being made to work injured and this and that, blah blah blah. Right? He got into all of that. So what ended up happening was the WWE decided to sue CM Punk. WWE and the WWE doctor that CM Punk accused of misdiagnosing a MRSA infection decided to sue CM Punk and Colt Cabana for defamation of character. So they went to court. According to Colt Cabana, CM Punk told him that, "Don't worry, I'll take care of the legal fees for you. I'll take care of everything." That is what Colt Cabana said CM Punk was going to do. Later, he would come out saying that CM Punk never paid legal fees and all this and that, and apparently blamed CM Punk for being in financial in financial in financial struggles because of this whole thing, and decided to sue CM Punk for it. CM Punk decided to countersuit, and basically what he said at this press conference is what resulted, and the guys are no longer best friends anymore. And yeah, that's where that stems from. So
Right.
a long friendship ended between those two because of all of that.
Yes, and before CM Punk came to AEW, Colt Cabana was in AEW.
Right.
Colt Cabana has friendships with the EVPs, and for those who don't know, those are executive vice presidents of the company, who are also talent and wrestlers, guys that helped start AEW in the Young Bucks and Kenny Omega. Those are the EVPs
Yep.
that CM Punk was talking about. CM Punk basically is saying that that those guys, Kenny Omega, the Young Bucks, were leaking reports out to dirt sheets to reporters, saying
Journalist.
that the reason why Colt Cabana you don't see him anymore is because of CM Punk, because of the feud that they had, because of the falling out that they had. That's the reason why you don't see Colt Cabana on TV anymore. That's the reason why he got fired. CM Punk did not take that lightly. He was that pissed him off, and you basically heard it here in the first three or 4
Right.
minutes of our show.
Yeah.
That
It also kind of started with Hangman Adam Page doing
yeah,
that promo where he was pretty vague. He didn't directly outright say, mention CM Punk, uh, you know, being the reason why Colt Cabana's no longer around or almost lost a job and whatnot. But CM Punk knew what he was talking about. The rest of us didn't know at the time what Hangman Adam Page was talking about. And of course, he goes on. He beats Adam Page for the belt. Gets hurt the next day when he jumped into the crowd, smashed his foot. takes a few months off, comes back and gives him a receipt on his first night back, or one of his first nights back.
Yeah, I
You
remember
know,
he
call
came
him
out. He came out calling out Adam Page, saying, "You want a rematch? Come get your rematch." Waiting for him to come out, knowing he wasn't going to come out,
right because it wasn't planned.
and then saying, "Oh, that's not cowboy shit. That's coward shit,"
Completely
and
buried him.
buried him.
Yeah,
Buried him 100%. so so again, CM Punk comes back, wins the title off John Moxley after losing it to John Moxley only 2 weeks prior. Comes back, wins it in his hometown here in Chicago, and then this happens, like literally instantly right after. Again,
complete meltdown.
impromptu. This guy literally is. It's like he had it ready. He had it ready to go. This whole spiel, and he let him have it, man. He let Cole Cabana have it. He let
Hangman
Hangman
Adam
Adam Page
Page.
have it. The Young Bucks, Kenny Omega, and this happened all while Tony Khan is right next to him,
Man,
the owner of the company, his boss, their boss, and he's just letting it happen. Instead of stopping CM Punk, instead of saying, "Hey, hold on, you know what? We're not gonna go there." Next question. No, instead of saying that, he lets him say, and then goes, "You know what? I regret not answering this to begin with." It's like, bro, shut the fuck.
there's another video on YouTube where the camera is also looking at Tony Khan.
Yes. I seen that.
Man, the the,
And,
the,
his
the, the,
face,
the looks on his face, bro, the
his face the
expression,
entire time. Yes,
like he's
it's
horrified. I'm
priceless.
like, oh shit, I want this to be over already. When is this gonna end?
The look on his face is like, "There's no way this is happening right now."
Man,
But he's allowing it to happen. He
he
could
is,
stop it at any moment. You are the owner. You are the boss, bro. Like, what are you doing?
man, and then I also felt like see, I also felt like CM Punk, man, like it almost felt like it was no doubt it was disrespecting and embarrassing the company right there in front, in front of the media, in front of all the journalists and everything. But then he also, I don't know, probably unintentionally embarrassing Tony Khan. Pretty
Yeah,
much showing that, you're like, oh, he's the boss, but he's not really the boss here. He doesn't have control here. We could do whatever the fuck we want in
right.
this company. That's what it showed, man. And that's the main thing that I have a problem with what he did. Embarrassing the company, embarrassing Tony Khan himself. When yeah, man. I mean, if he has issues with the EVPs, that's one thing. It's not the first time I heard about guys having issues with Kenny Omega and the Bucks. I mean, look at Cody, right?
Right.
Cody Rhodes was there. He was one of the EVPs. They ran Cody out of that company.
Yeah.
And we still don't know. We still don't know exactly what it was, but we do know for sure that those guys had a falling out before he left the company. So there could be some smoke to the fire there. What CM Punk is talking about, but this was not the way to do it, man.
Not at all. You guys listen to Sports Drip Live, brought to you by JCA Sports, alongside my brother Enrique Contreras. I'm Jose Contreras. You guys can be in the comments, and we'll definitely read them out. We'll talk. Right now, we're talking AEW and everything that's happened so far in the scrum. We have yet to get into the pay-per-view itself. Eric in the comments, what's up, my boy? Say, yeah. Super chill, huh, Jose? Yes, super chill. I'm on my couch, brand new couches. Came up, brought the mic. Might as well do it from here. He looked
Exactly.
worse than what he did when he was with WWE, talking about CM Punk. Look, this.
There's still more to it, man.
There's still more. Yes, I paused right because I was like, bro, there's still a lot. We haven't even got to, I guess, the most important part, really, because after all that, after that CM Punk rant, after everything,
Mhm.
he goes back to his locker room. He has, what's that guy's name? His manager, his trainer, whatever the guy.
Ace Steel.
Ace Steel. Ace Steel. He has Ace Steel with him. Ace Steel's wife is also in the locker room, who has a broken foot, by the way. She was watching Larry, CM Punk's dog.
Right.
They're in the locker room, and here comes Kenny Omega and the Young Bucks, who are none too pleased with what he said. An altercation broke out. Many reports out there. Nobody really knows what's going on. There's an investigation going on because this has become a legal issue
Yeah.
with all parties involved. CM Punk side is saying that they're acting as self-defense. Kenny Omega and the Young Bucks are saying that CM Punk threw the first blow, and then from there it was an all-out brawl. Ace Steel threw a chair at one of the Young Bucks, hitting him in the eye. He also supposedly grabbed and pulled Kenny Omega's hair and biting him.
I know, right? Instead of Larry the dog biting Kenny Omega, it was Ace Steel that bit him.
Exactly. The entire time I'm reading this, I'm like, what the fuck is the dog doing then? Like, is he just barking the entire time? Like,
He's innocent in the whole thing, bro. He's
poor. And then Ace Steel's wife with a broken foot, probably trying to hold him back or her back. Oh my god, what is going on? And then Ricky, and then Christopher Daniels is in there. What's
Brandon Cutler?
Brandon Cutler.
And they said Pat Buck, which all we mentioned have also been suspended.
Yes.
Wow.
And that's where I'm bringing up. These guys were in the locker room and they've also been suspended. And my reason is why.
Well, we don't know why. Were they in the fight too? Were they trying to break it up, or were they also involved? Was punches being thrown by the guys? Because Brandon Cutler is the Young Bucks.
Yes, right, exactly. That's what I don't know these other guys. I don't know whose side Christopher. I know Christopher Daniels. I don't know whose side he's going to be on.
I don't know whose side he was on, but he got suspended. So if he got suspended, he did something, bro.
Exactly.
He swung at somebody. We still don't know what happened here. We don't know what. Apparently. So look, there's no doubt that the Bucks and Omega definitely went to go and confront CM Punk. Right. CM Punk even laid down the gauntlet in that we didn't show it in the video because he was still going on throughout the night.
Yeah, he went on. I only saw 3 minutes of that video.
That's only 3 minutes. But he said in that interview, he was like, if anybody has a fucking problem with me, come see me. I'll be up and down these halls. I'll be here. Come get it. Apparently is what he's saying. Yeah. Sure enough, that's what they did.
Exactly.
Now, we don't know exactly. Okay, we know that they went and confronted. We don't know who actually threw the first punch. That's what we don't know so far. Apparently, he's claiming that the Bucks super kicked the door wide open. With a super kick party and shit. And they came in and apparently they were defending themselves. Now, if somebody kicked in my door, of course, I'm over here thinking, yeah, this is a 3-on-1 situation. I'm gonna defend myself if that's what happened. But then there's the other side where apparently CM Punk was the one that threw the punches first. I believe it was Matt Jackson that he apparently at least punched at least once. Some people are saying that he punched him multiple times. That comes from Brian Alvarez of the WrestlingObserver.com. But yeah, so that's basically what happened. It was a melee that they said was probably 5 or 6 minutes. Jeez. Which is pretty long. That's a full UFC round right there, bro.
Bro, honestly,
that's long.
Yeah.
So
that's long. Yeah, that's you're right. That's like a full 5-minute fight. That's a round.
That's a round right there in the UFC.
So like that tells you, right? Because like this is all supposedly going on while the scrum is still going. The Young Bucks and Kenny Omega were supposed to be in that scrum, and they didn't. Instead, Tony Khan called an audible and called Chris Jericho. Chris Jericho came to talk, and I think that's when it was happening. So like he didn't get there till after, and then from there, authorities are called, and this is now a legal issue.
Now a legal issue, and more and more news came out as the days went on, man. So now we know for sure that Kenny Omega, Matt and Nick Jackson are suspended.
Yep.
And they were stripped of the trios titles that they won the night, that same night.
Yeah.
CM Punk and Ace Steel presumably are suspended right now, but it's also rumored that they might even get fired, especially Ace Steel. Because
he has to go. I mean,
I think he's gone. I think that dude is gone for sure. Yeah. But here's the problem too: if he's gone and they don't fire CM Punk, that's CM Punk's best friend right there. CM Punk just might end up walking out in protest of that. So it could be a situation where we were supposed to know today. I haven't seen any updates, so we don't know anything yet. Supposedly, CM Punk had a meeting with Tony Khan on Tuesday.
Yeah,
and they discussed everything going forward. We don't know what was discussed. We don't know if Tony told him, okay, well, you guys, we're gonna let you guys go, but we're not gonna release this out, yet. We don't know. So time will tell. This week hasn't even been over yet. We can find out anything as soon as tomorrow, or even this weekend. But yeah, man. crazy shit going on in this company,
dude. Like, and I was watching AEW All Out yesterday, and I was like, dude, this is the better card. I watched WWE Clash at the Castle Saturday, I knew NXT was going on, around the same time, and we'll get into that too. Like as far as all three promotions literally being on the same weekend. And then NXT, NXT. I didn't watch NXT till yesterday. I didn't watch that pay-per-view till yesterday, right before NXT, the
I,
actual show.
I haven't watched that actually.
I watched it yesterday. It wasn't bad. It wasn't bad. But AEW is what I was focused on. I'm a fan of AEW. I'm a big fan of AEW. I love AEW. I love the wrestlers. I love the matches. And I was a huge fan of that card. Watching the pay-per-view, I was a huge fan of the pay-per-view. I thought it was perfect. Thought it was well done. And then this happens. And it's like, what the hell's going on?
I know.
You
We
have-
had the return of MJF.
Dude,
And
right.
that was overshadowed.
That was overshadowed. We haven't even talked about. That's something we haven't even gotten into the card yet. We haven't even gotten to what happened because of what happened after that. Everything's been overshadowed. Like, you have your champion, your biggest star of the company, who you don't even know is going to be here anymore.
Right.
And him going, oh, that's a problem. He doesn't respect Tony Khan. He doesn't respect this company because he did it right in front of him.
Exactly.
And then you have your executive vice presidents. These are just supposed to be your leaders. Everybody involved are supposed to be the leaders of the company, the leaders in your group. And this is what's going on. Like, this is a stem. They're all what's the word I'm looking for? They're all as an example. They're basically, oh, there you go. They are all a reflection of Tony Khan and his leadership there in AEW, which seems to be non-existent.
Exactly. I mean, this shows right here exactly what you just said, that that Tony Khan does not have the kind of authority that he should be having in this company. As far as, when stuff like this goes on. Look, backstage fights between pro wrestlers, it's nothing new, man. We've seen it, we've heard about it, right? For years in the WWE, man. We've heard about Bret and Shawn Michaels having a backstage fight. Goldberg and Jericho. Even Kurt Angle has came out and said that he even had a backstage fight with Eddie Guerrero.
Yep.
Exactly. So this is nothing new, bro. Look, as far as CM Punk, look, what I do like about CM Punk is that he is the guy that is outspoken. He speaks his mind. If there is some shit going on, he at least has the balls. And quite honestly, he has the star power to actually and say whatever he wants to say because he is CM Punk. Right. There's a lot of guys on the roster that can't say anything because they're nobody and they can get fired. They're way down in the pecking order. All right. That is the one thing I do respect about him, about CM Punk, is that he has the balls and he has the balls to say what he needs, what's on his mind and what he needs to say, what he feels he needs to say. But I think that instead of what he did, embarrassing Tony Khan and AEW in front of the world, really, instead of doing that, he should have just went directly to Kenny Omega, directly to Matt and Nick Jackson, backstage privately with the cameras off, and say, "Hey, douchebags, stop spreading this bullshit around." Hey, that's how he is, right? That's exactly how he is, right? That's exactly what he probably would have said. Stop spreading all this bullshit about me to the dirt sheets, blah blah blah. If you got a problem with me, say it to me right here. I'm right here in your face, right? And then, of course, probably a fight would have broke out, and we would have heard about it in the dirt sheets. Oh, there was a backstage fight, and this and that. And that's all it would have been. It would have been like any other story we heard about wrestlers fighting backstage. The impact would have been a lot less than what it is.
I agree. But because everything that led up to that, it's like, and it was very public. It's like, holy crap. You know what I mean?
And and if you look closely too, you can see why he decided to do that at the scrum, because he had all the dirt sheets literally right there in front of him.
Everybody.
Even
Brian Alvarez and Dave Meltzer, who he called out publicly right there. He called them out.
He called him out, calling him incredulous and all this and that. Like, oh, you're making me look bad or whatever.
Yeah.
So he took the opportunity. I see what he was doing. He went there knowing that they were going to be there, all those guys there, and it was his plan. It was a plan all along. Nobody had to ask him about Colt Cabana. He was going to do it. That's what he was going to do. Now, he shouldn't have done it. If anything, what he should have done, he should have done it on his time. Like he could have went on a podcast or something like that. He could have went on this podcast, right?
Right.
And aired out his grievance.
Come on, we're all Chicago guys, man.
We're in Chicago, exactly.
We got you.
He could have went on here and said whatever he wanted to say, put the EVPs on blast, and this and that, blah blah blah, and just like I said about what I just said, the impact would have been less.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? At least he didn't do it right. He didn't disrespect his boss. He didn't embarrass him. He didn't put it right there in front of AEW sponsored Scrum or whatever. Because you got to remember too that AEW is coming up with their deal with TNT and Warner Discovery is coming up.
Yeah.
To negotiate a new deal and to get more money.
Yep.
The network, the executives there at the network, they cannot be happy about this.
No, because then CM Punk is a draw. He's a reason why you would want to re-sign AEW and get them rights to TV, because people are going to want to watch CM Punk, Kenny Omega, the Young Bucks.
Exactly. And then they look at this and they be like, oh well, you look like you don't got your shit together here. You don't got no authority here. This is looking like the inmates are running the asylum here.
Yeah.
I don't think we want, and then with CM Punk going off the way he did, who's to say he won't do that on live on our television, on our network.
Right.
And cause controversy. So no, we don't want to do business with you guys no more. That could happen.
It could happen.
That could happen.
But that's why I think that's the reason why there's reports out there that CM Punk might get released. So I think that's the reason. I think you hit it right in the head. That could be the reason why they're saying he might get released. So that way you put their concerns, the networks, the executives at bay. You get their concerns at bay. So they know, hey, this isn't going to happen. During their broadcast. But
I mean, let me ask you a question, man. Do you think Tony Khan should fire CM Punk?
I would.
You would?
I would. I would. If I was I've been in management before, and this is a wrestling company, but management is management wherever you go, right? If you have direct reports that are under you, there has to be a respect factor there. If any one of my employees did what CM Punk did, 100% they would not be working for me again, because that just shows me you don't respect me. And if you don't respect me, why should I have you work for me?
Right.
You're not going to listen to what I'm saying. You're not going to respect you're not going to respect anything that I'm saying. Like, you know what I mean? Like, and the fact that you did it right in front of me, you called out other executives in the company, it's like, what is going on here? And then for the brawl to happen and everything, now I have to change up everything around me, everything in the company. I have to strip you, I have to suspend you, maybe fire you, and then strip them, all because of what you did. You started it today. Yeah, it's over. I would, if I was Tony Khan. It's unfortunate because CM Punk is a draw like that.
Right.
It'd be hard for me to do it for the money and numbers alone, but I would. What about you?
I would, if it was me, I would probably, you know what? Yeah, I would have it going in my head. You know what? I need to fire this dude because he's caused a lot of trouble. Since he's been here. He has a track record of this shit too in other companies. But then I would be like, as a wrestling promoter, if I was a wrestling promoter, I would be like, you know what? This is what I'm gonna do. I'll do exactly what Tony Khan just did. Suspend these guys, strip them of their titles, let them blow off some steam.
Yeah.
When they're ready to come back, have a little meeting with everybody involved.
Yeah.
We'll have security there, obviously. Right. And then we'll have some type of mediation. And like, look, you guys have no respect for me and my company. The EVPs, you guys shouldn't have been. You guys are executive vice presidents. You guys should not have. This is unbecoming of you guys, and you shouldn't have done what you guys have done as well, confronting him like as you did. I know he said what he said. CM Punk and with CM Punk, what he did too. You guys have no respect for me. You guys have not thought about me or my company, and now I actually want this. Now I want what I want in my company, and I want what I want. And what I want is I want this to become an angle now. I want you guys to. I'm not asking you guys to be best friends, but I'm asking you guys to be professional, and we'll make this into an angle, and let's make some money. Let's work together. And if you guys don't want to do it, then that's when I would. If CM Punk would refuse to do business with Kenny Omega and the Young Bucks in an angle, then that's when he should fire him.
Yeah,
that's when he should fire him.
That's a good point.
Because look, this. I mean, obviously, this is the biggest story in wrestling, and imagine This would be the biggest angle, the hottest angle in wrestling.
Mm-hmm.
Imagine him against teaming pairing up with FTR, for example,
Yeah.
and
For
then go
real.
and then making a trio. I get making a trio rivalry between these guys, and eventually going for those trios belts. You know what I mean? Because at
Yeah.
the end, you're a wrestling promoter. You want to make money. You want to draw in ratings, right? This is the way. If you plan on keeping CM Punk, this is the way to go. If you don't plan on firing him, this is the way to go. And quite honestly, man, if the elite do not want to do business as well, I would strip those guys of those EVP titles, man.
Yeah.
Because I don't think any wrestler, any active wrestler, should be named executive vice presidents. Because then there's a conflict of interest there.
Yeah. And I like what you're saying because you're right. Those guys are big enough stars to where, like, okay, like, although I said, hey, look, I wouldn't have these guys working for me if they disrespected me that way. At the same time, I also have to look at the fact that these guys are AEW. These guys are the biggest draw, and losing them hurts me more than me catering to my pride. You know what I mean? So it's a
Exactly.
good point. What you're saying is because you need these guys essentially. If you're
Yeah.
Tony Khan, you need them,
Yeah.
and I agree 100%. If you bring them back, if you bring them all back, you have to sit them down together in a room. Maybe have security officers, whatever you gotta do,
Yeah, exactly what I said. Yep.
and,
Yep.
and clear the air. Clear the air 100%. This cannot happen again.
Yeah.
This is done. You don't have to apologize, but you have to respect one another. You have to understand that this is a business. We're gonna move forward. If
Yeah.
anything, we're gonna make this, like you said, make it into an angle. Why
Yeah,
wouldn't we?
because Tony Khan needs to be. This is where he needs to be a boss. This is where he
Yeah.
needs to drop the hammer down, and this is when he needs to be a businessman. Like, you know what? The shit that you guys did months ago, however long they would be suspended or whatever. This made the headlines. This was a big deal, big story in wrestling. Let's capitalize on it. Let's all make money together. I'm not asking you guys to be best buds, but I want you guys to be professional, and you guys will be in an angle together. And if not, there's the door.
Yeah.
Plain and simple. That's the way to do it,
That
bro. That's the way to
that is
go.
that is something Vince McMahon esque.
That is Vince McMahon, bro. He needs to
because
be Vince. He needs
because
to be Vince McMahon,
we can say a lot about Vince, but there is structure and there is respect and there is fear when
bro.
it
There is,
comes to
and
Vince
bro,
McMahon.
yep. And there is stories. I've heard stories where Vince McMahon he loves it when guys don't like each other. He was like, oh, they don't like each other. That's great. Let's put them together.
I was just going to say that whole angle, that everything that was going on, not even an angle, but everything that was going on like backstage with Edge and Matt Hardy with the whole Lita controversy and
Yes,
everything.
yes. That's
It,
another example right
it's
there.
funny that all that was happening and everybody backstage knew. I'm sure Vince McMahon knew. And as soon as that happened, let's put them in an angle together, just the same exact
Yes,
way
exactly.
that it's going on in real life. And
Yep.
oh my God.
And even with Bret Hart and Shawn Michaels, those
Yep.
guys hated each other back
Yep.
then, bro. But they were professional enough, and Vince put them together. Okay, well, let's do this. They made for great television, great matches. So this is what Tony Khan needs to. If he plans on keeping CM Punk, because we don't know what's gonna happen with him yet, but if he plans to keep him, then this is what needs to be done after they fulfill this. They do their time. Being suspended, bring them back, make an angle. That's the way to go.
Yeah, 100%. I agree with you, man. You guys listen to the Sports Drip Live podcast brought to you by the JCA Sports alongside my older brother, Enrique Contreras. My name is Jose Contreras. We are talking AEW. We just talked about the media scrum, Ricky. Let's finally get into.
Didn't do a goddamn thing.
Okay,
Yeah,
got
they
it,
didn't do
Punk.
a goddamn thing.
We got you, Punk. We got you. Let's
We
get
did.
it.
We did. That was a whole half hour right there of the
We
just that
did.
media scrum.
We literally did a whole hour just on the media scrum alone. We haven't even got to the pay-per-view, which was a great pay-per-view in my book. And let's talk about a little bit. We don't have to go through over the whole thing, Ricky, but let's just talk about some matches that you and I both liked. I want to start off with what I thought was the best match of the night, which was the tag team championship match between Swerve and Glory and the Acclaimed. This match was amazing. The crowd was into it. You could tell these guys were into it.
Yeah.
Billy Gunn, Big Daddy Ass was into it. When you have the Chicago crowd literally chanting, "Oh, scissor me, daddy," you know it's lit. You know it's a good time. You know it's a good time.
Man, Yeah, this was, dude, all the near falls that happened in the end, and then the crowd was just going ape shit because they wanted to see, man, they wanted to see the Acclaim win the tag team titles because, man, these guys are the hottest tag team in, probably next to FTR, man, the hottest tag team in AEW right now.
Yep.
And I was like, man, if this, I was saying to myself, if these guys don't win the titles, man, that's gonna deflate the crowd. And sure enough, it did. It, to me, it looked like the crowd was deflated when it didn't. The
Yeah.
title change didn't happen. But yeah, the Acclaim are over as, they're over as hell. So is Daddy Ass, Billy Gunn, along with them. And sure, and surprisingly, they were actually booing Keith Lee and Swerve
Yeah.
Strickland, man, which they were baby faces and they're over with the AEW audience, but they were booing them.
Yeah.
So they almost temporarily became heels in this match.
You know what? And credit to them because they basically were they were heels in this match. They were heels, and they were acting like, especially Swerve Strickland. He takes that heel role seriously. He was basically, he was essentially acting as a heel throughout the
Yeah,
match.
yeah. So they read the room. They
Yeah,
they
yeah,
they knew they knew
definitely.
how they played it up and they knew how to play to the crowd and everything.
Yeah,
And yeah, and there's a lot. I've heard a lot of people, a lot of fans being like, "Man, Tony Khan should have called it audible." I mean,
yeah,
the crowd would have went nuts if the
yep.
Acclaim won the titles, but he's saving it for another. He's saving it for another night. That will be in New York, Arthur Ashe Stadium at on the Dynamite. What the hell's the name of that show? I forgot what he called it, but
The
it'll be yeah,
I know what you're talking about.
yeah, it'll be in New York at the Arthur Ashe Stadium. Rematch between these two, and I fully expect the Acclaim to win that night.
Yeah, I agree. They
Grand Slam. They came to me.
Grand
The
Slam,
Grand Slam.
yes,
Yep.
Grand Slam. The although the media scrum was heavy on CM Punk, I watched the rest of it because I was like, what else can happen, right?
Yeah.
And Swerve Strickland
Yes,
and
Keith
Keith
Lee.
Lee, they both came right after Punk, and the reporters asked Tony Khan, why didn't you call an audible? And you could tell that Strickland and Keith Lee, they kind of took offense to that. So they, hey, look, we get everybody loves the Acclaim, we get how over they are, but we're still the best here, and they are. They're really good,
Yeah.
and again, a lot of credit has to go to them because the fact that they brought that, they also had a lot to do with what the crowd was, how the crowd was reacting and how the Acclaim were, they were a big part of that match. And I mean, these guys are good, man.
They're good, man. They're
They're
good
good.
together. They're good. I mean, they're also kind of teasing their split because
Yeah.
there have been instances in this match and then before in matches prior that they would accidentally bump into each other, kick each
Mhm.
other, or whatever. So the split eventually is going to happen. I think it'll happen once they drop the titles.
Right.
But
Well, that's always
yeah, but as far as the team between these guys, it works.
yeah.
These guys are good. These guys are really good together.
It's the same as Kenny Omega and Hangman Adam Page. Remember, you and I were there in Revolution when they won the championships.
Yeah.
Against was it the Young Bucks when they faced the Young Bucks Revolution all those years ago, and how great that match was. How great, they were as a tag team, and they weren't even a true tag team. Same with these two guys; they're not really a true tag team, but they work so well together. And like every two superstars that get paired up,
Right.
that's always going to lead to a feud. But I mean, this match to me, 5-star match of the night.
And you know what I like the most about this too, man? I remember the trios match between Kenny Omega and the Bucks.
That was my next one.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, we'll get to that. But I remember. But here's the thing. I remember after the match, after they won, Kenny Omega was on stage. He brought the camera close to him and he said, "All you boys in the back, follow that bitch." He said that, right? That's what he said.
Right.
Well, they did. These guys did, and they
Yeah.
had the match of the night. So take that, Kenny.
And you know what? And it's crazy because the trios match happened before the tag team championship match.
Yep.
The Young Bucks and Kenny Omega against Dark Order and Hangman and Page. That happened before the Acclaim versus Swerve and Glory. And I thought that match was going to be match of the night. I was like, dude, this match is so good. That had me on my heels. And you know what I mean? And I was like, this is gonna be the match of the night. This is gonna be the best match. And of course it was, because it's Kenny Omega and the Young Bucks. You know what I
Kenny,
mean?
Kenny looked great, man. He was in great shape.
Yeah,
He was in great shape. He didn't look hurt anymore with all taped up and everything. That was a great match.
it was.
This trios match.
It was a great match, and then for that to get followed up by this one, and I was like, "Holy crap!"
Yeah,
We were in for a treat. We were in
exactly.
for a treat.
Yeah, two great matches, man. And then we'll get into that the casino ladder match.
Yeah, I mean, we can get into it now. I mean,
Yep.
again, like Kenny Omega and Young Bucks, that was a good match. It sucks that they aren't the trios championship. I understood why they became the trios champion because this is a new belt. These are new belts. This is a new kind of concept that wrestling's going towards. And of course, you want your inaugural champions to be credible as the Young Bucks and Kenny Omega because it has to be. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
There has to be precedence to these new titles.
Yeah, what a way to when the first ever champions get stripped. What a way to remember the history of the trios titles from years later. That the guys that won the first ended up getting stripped over some bullshit backstage. It's crazy.
Yeah, 100%, man. And yeah, crazy. But that's where we're at. That's where we're at right now. And going on to the first match of the night, which was that casino ladder match. What is it? The Casino Royal ladder match or something like that?
Yeah, the casino ladder, the casino ladder match, to win a title shot for the AEW World Title, which was also pretty good match. Andrade, Roosh, who else was in this match? Man, I think Claudio Castagnoli was in this match.
Yep, Roosh.
But the main thing everybody remembers was the Joker. Now, I didn't like this. I didn't like the way it ended, to be quite honest. They had a bunch of guys come out in masks, and then one guy went up there, grabbed it, and it ended up being Stokely Hathaway. And then the Joker comes out wearing a mask, a Halloween mask or whatever, and then he hands it to him, and then he effectively wins. We didn't know who it was at the time, but I can tell by the mannerisms and the way he walked, that was MJF. That was totally MJF.
100%.
Yeah.
100%.
And sure enough, we would find out later that it was. I thought that he probably should have just walked out there and grabbed it himself. He didn't have to wrestle everybody in this match. He probably should have just went up there. I didn't really get why someone else had to do it for him, but it is what it is. And yeah, we ended up being MJF later on in the night, and he has a world title shot whenever he wants it.
Yeah. And that was the biggest surprise of the night that MJF came back. Right before he came back, he played an audio of a recording that Tony Khan saying, "Hey, we need you back. It's good for the fans, good for the company."
And this was after the main event. This was after CM Punk and John Moxley, which I thought they also had a great match too. I thought it was a good match.
Really good match, man. This whole card was great. He came back basically. He actually came back.
Had a big pop too.
Huge pop.
Huge pop by the Chicago crowd.
It almost seems like he's going to be a babyface going forward.
Well, until tonight, until Dynamite tonight, when he came out, he came out teasing that he was being a babyface. But then as soon as John Moxley came out and called him on his bullshit, that's when he became the old MJF again, and then we saw, so. But I could still see him becoming a top babyface later on. But sometime down the future, I'm pretty sure he will. But he's still the same MJF.
Yeah, no. Jericho said it also in the scrum. He was like, he basically told MJF, when you come back, you're going to be a babyface. And MJF's like, no, I don't want to. He was like, well, it's too late, man. He was like, you're over. Like, this crowd loves you right now.
Yeah.
They did in the scrum. They did bring up a good point to Tony Khan. Is he like? Wouldn't you be worried? This was your one true heel, and like with him now being like the anti-authority figure, that he's going to be kind of looked at like as a Stone Cold Steve Austin kind of babyface. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I think regardless whether it's true or not, it's good for the company him being there.
Yeah.
With all this turmoil and drama that's going on, AEW is still in a good spot because they still have a plethora of talent that they could use. I mean, Daniel Bryan versus Hangman and Page happened today. I was watching a little bit of AEW. They have a tournament going on now.
Yeah, that was a great match. I
was.
watched that. I watched that
Yeah.
entire match. Great match between Bryan Danielson and Adam Page.
Mhm.
I I mean, I don't know what to say about Adam Page anymore after CM Punk just completely buried him. But he's still good. He's still in there. He's still Adam Page, and he's still really good in the ring, and he put on a really good match with Danielson. So Danielson moves on, and I believe he's going to be facing Jericho next
Yep.
in this tournament. I
Another rematch.
actually I think he should be the one to win this tournament. I think he should be the champion.
I
Bryan Danielson.
was just thinking the same thing. I was watching it driving home, and I was like, dude, Daniel Bryan should be the next champion. Because if you think about it, right, MJF is obviously going to get the next. Whoever wins this title is going to go into a program with the MJF.
Yeah.
MJF is a heel. It has to be a baby face. You know what I mean? I think Jericho got the win over Bryan Danielson at All Out. I think Bryan Danielson returns that favor. Maybe some Daniel Garcia comes in and helps. Doesn't, I don't know, but I think Danielson wins this, and I agree with you 100%. He should win the title, and a program between him and MJF, or maybe even Moxley and MJF because of what happened today.
Yeah.
But regardless, I think both will be good,
dude.
For the company.
Speaking of Moxley, man, that dude is the MVP of that company, bro. I mean, Tony Khan has had to rely on this guy through all the fuck ups of CM Punk, man. Like the first one, CM Punk decides to do a stupid thing, diving in the crowd and shatters his foot, and has to go away, and they put the interim title on Jon Moxley. You know what I mean? And then now with this latest thing going on with CM Punk, with him being hurt and then being suspended for the things that he did, supposedly, from what I read, that Jon Moxley was supposed to go on. He was supposed to go away for a while. He was supposed to go on vacation.
He said it today. He said today I'm supposed to be on vacation right now.
Yeah. But Tony Khan once again leaning on Jon Moxley, like, hey, dude, shit went down again, and I need you, man. And Moxley's there, bro. Mad respect for Jon Moxley, man.
100%.
Mad respect, dude.
And this. I mean, again, scrum, right? The scrum was good for much more than everything else that happened. But he was on like a 300 match streak where he wasn't pinned cleanly.
Yeah, right.
CM Punk basically ended that with the clean pin on All Out.
Yeah.
But they've been taking care of him, man. They've been taking care of Mox and his character.
They've been taking care of Jon Moxley, and Jon Moxley's been taking care of them.
Yeah.
Dude, he's been there, bro. He's there. He's supposed to be on vacation right now, but he's there. Like, okay, let's do this. I'll do what I need to do for this tournament, and I don't think he's gonna be the champion again, but he's there. He's there to do business. Yeah. And that's a true leader, man. The true, him, Bryan Danielson, and Chris Jericho. Supposedly they had another meeting again today before Dynamite, and those were the three guys that spoke at the meeting. And I guess everybody said that they respect those guys for they try to motivate everybody in the locker room, and let's keep moving forward and put this company on the map again.
I mean, those are the guys who have been there, done that.
Yeah.
In WWE and other promotions.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Quite the opposite of what I heard about Kenny Omega in the first meeting they did. Supposedly he came off very douchey and said shit like, I wouldn't hire 8 out of 10 of you guys. Apparently that's what Kenny Omega said in the first meeting that that Tony Khan did. So yeah, quite the opposite. Quite the opposite. So, of what Danielson and Moxley and Jericho said in the second meeting. So
the egos, man.
The ego, bro. It is, man. This is more than just CM Punk, man. There's been a lot of stories and rumors about the Elite as well, man. That they look after themselves. They're kind of like this generation clique. Like how the clique was with Shawn Michaels, Triple H, Kevin Nash. How they only looked after themselves. This is a lot of stories are coming out about them being the same as well, looking out for themselves. So for their own clique.
I mean, they're really good in the ring, man.
They're good in the ring. Just Shawn Michaels was the greatest of all time in the ring.
Yeah.
But he was known to be a real prick backstage, back in the 90s from what a lot of stories that you hear about Shawn Michaels. So
Right.
yeah. So all I know is that all I gotta say is Tony Khan is lucky to have those three guys, man. Very, very, very fortunate to have those three guys.
And
They're-
and under contract for years.
yeah,
For years. So yeah, 100%. So yeah, I mean, Ricky, real quick before we move on from AEW, because we spent literally almost an hour on this. Any other match worthy of noting, or anything you want to acknowledge from this pay-per-view?
from this pay per view. I like the Tony Storm match. She's now the interim championship. I'm glad she has the belt, and whenever Thunder Rosa is ready to come back, they'll be able to do a unification, and that should be a good match between those two somewhere down the line.
Yep,
But overall, great pay per view, man. It definitely beat WWE for me,
100%.
even with Triple H in charge.
Yeah, and but we can get into that, Ricky, because there was also things from Tony Khan and that scrum when they asked him like how does he feel about there being competition on the weekend, and he went on saying it was not a coincidence that they were the only program a year ago and years prior on Labor Day weekend, with a pay-per-view, and now this year they were, he basically competed with two other ones, all from WWE.
That's no coincidence.
Yeah, Clash of the Castle was Saturday, and then literally the same day, All Out was going on. There was the NXT Worlds Collide with
WWE. Not only put one show but two shows, and yet AEW still won for the weekend for the most buzz, even though it wasn't the best. But
well, I mean, the scrum had a lot to do with it, but
yeah.
I've watched all three. I think without a doubt, 100%, the AEW pay-per-view was better.
Right,
100%. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. I would even dare say the NXT pay-per-view was better than the Clash of the Castle. The one and only, what's his name? Ricochet. The one and only Ricochet defeat, him. I mean him losing, but him going against the North American champion Carmelo Hayes was a great match.
Mm-hmm.
Great match. Two guys very similar, but it was amazing. But and then obviously the Braun Strowman, Tyler Bate unifying their titles. It was a good card. But WWE, they did their thing. They had their show. But what do you think about what Tony Khan said, Ricky, about WWE putting the same programs on the same weekend with him? He said he takes it seriously. He feels like Jim Crockett, but he has way more money than Jim Crockett ever had, and he has way too much money to let this, to not let this continue.
Yeah. And in his own words, I'm not gonna take this shit from them.
Yeah,
he was pissed. He was pissed at
Yeah.
the end of that sentence. He looked really pissed.
Yeah.
I mean, it's no surprise, bro. I mean, him being, this is he's still a rookie wrestling promoter, but he should, but now he's learning that, because I know he did an interview before saying that somebody asked him, now with Triple H involved, are you willing to do business with WWE in the future, like a forbidden door type of thing? And he said something to the effect, well, I was optimistic in the beginning, but after they treated me, I'm no longer as optimistic anymore about it. I guess what he was talking about the contract tampering that they were doing at the time.
Yeah.
So yeah, this is straight WWE. This is how Vince McMahon always was. And Triple H is his son-in-law, and he learned from Vince McMahon. And this is exactly what it was. This is what he did. I'm sure they're not thrilled that AEW exists, and this is their way of fucking with AEW. Try to mess up their, the pay-per-view buys, try to slow them down a little bit. So this was all done by design, and this is the cutthroat tactics that WWE has always done. And Tony Khan should not be surprised at the least bit.
He could do the exact same thing though. He could do the exact same thing.
He could. He does have a lot more money, dude. His family are worth billions.
Yeah.
He owns an NFL team, the
Jacksonville
Jaguars.
They own the Jacksonville Jaguars 100%.
And they got money forever. So yeah, he could do the exact same thing, and I think he should. He should he should put his weight down and show them that, hey, you want to fuck with me? I can fuck with you too. I could do it too. Twice as hard.
Right?
You know,
Make a big time pay per view with MJF and whoever wins this championship.
get your house in order first, though,
Right.
Tony.
Right.
Get your house in order first, and then you can worry about WWE later. But yeah, for sure, he should definitely do something. He should do the same thing. He should play the game too.
Yeah, 100%. Speaking of playing the game, Ricky Triple H had Roman Reigns defeating Drew McIntyre. Roman Reigns is now and still again the the WWE Undisputed Championship.
Yeah,
Who's gonna beat this guy, man?
I still think it's gonna be Cody Rhodes. I think, I mean, what, probably in WrestleMania, or it could even be The Rock if they can get The Rock, but I don't think they'll get him because WrestleMania will be in Hollywood this year coming up.
Yeah,
So I mean that's the perfect place to bring The Rock, but that's up to The Rock. But yeah, I was actually surprised. I actually thought that Roman probably would have ended up dropping the title here because Drew McIntyre is over there in Europe,
yep,
and it would have been fitting for him to finally win not only win the title, but then get that moment that he never had. Because remember, he won his first world title in an empty arena. This is during the pandemic shows.
yep,
He didn't get that moment, and this could have been the best moment that he could have got, winning the title in front of a packed crowd, cheering, chanting his name, fireworks, and all this and that, and they didn't do it. So they obviously have another plan in mind, and it could be Cody Rhodes.
It would make sense. It would make sense. Cody Rhodes or The Rock. I mean, The Rock can't. I wouldn't see The Rock defeating him because I don't see The Rock becoming a part timer.
Right.
He's like part timer. You know what I mean? But definitely, yeah, Cody Rhodes makes sense. Definitely makes sense. But they got to take him off him eventually.
Yeah, and they just brought back Braun Strowman. I don't know if Triple H is fixing to put him in the title picture, but I don't see him being Roman either. But
Yeah,
that's just probably another opponent for him to beat.
Yeah,
but I think the end goal here is probably Cody Rhodes if he's able to come back in time for the Royal Rumble.
That's true.
I mean, and that's a story to tell right there. So, yeah,
definitely. Definitely something we'll keep an eye.
it was a little disappointing though. I did want to see McIntyre, dethrone finally Roman Reigns, but
yeah, me too.
Yeah, but it didn't happen. So,
nope, did not happen. Once again, you guys, you are listening to Sports Drip Live. Alongside my older brother, Ricky Contreras, I am Jose Contreras. We're brought to you by JCA Sports. Well, Ricky, that was WWE. We'll see what's going to happen. I mean, Triple H came out saying, they're bringing more people back. We've seen Braun Strowman back already. We've seen Bayley back already. Hit Rose back. Sasha Banks is going to be coming back soon. Johnny Gargano is going to make his debut on Raw next week. So a lot of good things happening for WWE. We just got to see where it goes.
Yeah. Look, everybody says give it time. Rome wasn't built in a day. The shows have gotten a little better since Triple H has been in charge. At least more logical booking is happening, but to me, it's still the same WWE. So, but I'll still give him some time. I'll give it a chance.
Yeah, 100%. Show must go on, and we are moving on to UFC. A whole hour of WWE wrestling. We could have done more too if we wanted to.
Oh yeah.
Let's get into these two fights, Ricky. Whittaker versus Vettori and Ciryl Gane versus Tai Tuivasa. Start off with Whittaker and Vettori, man. What did you see here?
Man, this was a showcasing for Robert Whittaker for sure. It was 3 rounds. I was surprised. I was thinking maybe it should have been 5 rounds. But then again, it would have been another 5 rounds of Whittaker. Probably might even finishing Marvin Vettori, even though Vettori is very durable. He hasn't been finished like that. He's a very tough guy. But and I was also very surprised that Marvin Vettori wasn't really able to get going in this fight because I was expecting more out of him. I knew Whittaker was going to win his fight, but the way he won, man, he's leaving no doubt that he is
the second best.
The second best. In this middleweight division for sure.
If there was no Israel Adesanya, Whittaker would be that guy taking over this entire division.
Yeah, I mean he was there. He's a former champion. It wasn't until he ran into Adesanya that he lost the belt. But Without a doubt, man. I expect to see a third fight if Adesanya is still champion by the time Whitaker gets to him. But I definitely will see Robert Whitaker contending for that title once again, man, because this guy's on another level, man. He's definitely is the number 2 in this division.
No, 100%. It makes sense if Adesanya were to lose his belt in his next go around. What's the guy's name again? The one that
Alex Pereira.
Alex Pereira, yes.
Pereira, Alex Pajeda, you know, that's how I guess how's the best way to say it.
That's
Alex
right.
Pajeda.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but Pajeda, if he were to finally dethrone Israel Adesanya, then maybe a fight between Whitaker and Pajeda makes sense because as you mentioned, Whitaker's always been that number 2 guy.
Yeah.
He just can't defeat Israel.
I mean, yeah, this entire fight, man, he was landing jabs, strikes. He was in and out, man. This was Robert Whitaker at his best. Just putting on his absolute clinic. He was not able to allow Marvin Vettori to get going in this fight at all. And yeah, just another great showcasing from this guy, man. Definitely number 2. And if he does end up fighting Alex Pajeda, that's a fresh matchup right there, man. And
It is,
you know, against 2 of the best, I think the best strikers in this division for sure.
yeah. I would rather see Israel Adesanya versus Pajeda before anything, and then
That is what's happening.
Yeah,
That's already official. That'll happen in November.
Yep, and then
So
Whitaker is going after whoever. But that's next for Whitaker. But for Vettori, Ricky, what happens from here? Because this was supposed to be a big fight for him, and you know, as you mentioned, just didn't go his way.
Yeah, it really didn't go his way, and yeah, he's just gonna have to take some time. You know, go back to the drawing board and probably just. He had no answers for Whitaker in this fight. He couldn't get his wrestling going. He couldn't get any shots on going as well. So but he's still in the thick of it. So whoever they pair him up against next, you know, as I look at the rankings right now, you know, maybe a fight with Derek Bronson could happen. You know, he already fought Paulo Costa. He beat Paulo Costa, but maybe yeah. So maybe against Derek Bronson whenever he comes back, that could be a next fight for him, and see what he does in that fight to try to get back into contention. He's still number 3 in the division.
Yeah,
as of today, so, but it could change.
You know, next week we'll get into the rankings with one of these divisions, man, because there's so much going on right now, especially with the welterweight division, and now Leon Edwards being the champion here. You know, in this middleweight division, so many moving parts going around, especially the heavyweight division, which we're going to get into next with Ciryl Gane versus Taito Ivasa.
Yes. 2
heavy hitters, Ricky. Taito Ivasa was on a roll, though. It seems like he was on the up and up. You know, and this was a great test for him and Ciryl Gane to see what he can do. And unfortunately for him, it didn't go his way.
No.
Go ahead and explain to us what happened between Ciryl Gane and Taito Ivasa in this fight.
Well, let's say that. Okay, so the first round was pretty uneventful. All right, it was more of a filling out process. All right. So it was a bit of a slow start, right? But Ciryl Gane was still doing his thing. What he does, man, he fights on the outside. He moves. He has great footwork.
So calm in his fighting too.
Silent killer.
Silent
killer, bro. Cool as a cucumber, whatever you want to say. The dude was in his hometown. Everybody was going nuts for him, and he just took it all in, and it was like nothing. There was no nerves or anything, bro.
Right.
So he was doing his thing, man. He was winning the first round for sure. Then comes the second round. He's still doing what he's doing, but then Taito Ivasa. No. This is what set it up, and this is what Taito Ivasa has been known for. All right, when you hurt this guy, all of a sudden it's like I don't know if he goes into autopilot or just something awakes in him, the beast or whatever, and he just comes out swinging, and sure enough he catches guys.
Oh yeah,
with a punch of his own. We saw that do him to Greg Hardy when Greg Hardy hurt him, and then here comes Taito Ivasa with his attacks, ends up knocking him out and wins the fight. This is what happened here, bro. Gane was actually going in for the kill. He was landing. He had already busted up Tuivasa's face by this point and was landing and looked like he was getting the better exchanges for sure, almost putting out Tuivasa. Then Tuivasa throws a right hand and puts down Ciryl Gane.
Knocks him down. Yep.
Knocks him down
on his ass. Knocks him down on his ass.
On his ass. And according to Ciryl Gane in the post fight press conference, he says he actually was out when he got hit, and it pretty much wasn't until he hit the cage when he fell down on his ass that he woke up, and then actually escaped escaped Tuivasa right then and there. So
Credit to him,
the
man.
power,
Credit
the
to him.
power, the power of Tai Tuivasa is real,
Yep.
and just the resilience of Cyril Gane too, man, to withstand the storm, to weather the storm right there. It
Yeah.
was actually the first time we ever seen Cyril Gane get put down by a
Yep.
punch ever. So, and then and then not to mention after that happened, Cyril Gane comes back and lands kicks to the midsection over and over to Tai
Well,
Tuivasa.
because he knew he was hurting him. Like you would see
Yes.
Tuivasa like go to his abdomen like fuck this shit hurts and Gon took that as a freaking shark with blood in the water. He was all
Yeah.
set.
Yeah, he went in and then gets caught with a left hook and gets put back as well. This was an insane second round,
Dude, that's
and
like that
it's
was crazy.
it's just like you said, bro. If the round would have went out longer, one of these guys would have went down.
That yeah, they were both saved by the. I don't know who would have won that fight,
Second,
but if that round would have kept going, it would have been over.
it would have been over. And then sure enough, we see the same thing in the third round. In fact, we saw Cyril Gane land a head kick to
Yeah.
Tuivasa, and I don't know if Tuivasa was. I'm pretty sure he was half stunned and then probably half baiting
Yep.
Gane to come right in to catch him with a right hand of his own. But yeah, it was crazy all the way up until the end until Cyril Gane landed a flush right hand to the chin and just put him out. He put Tai Tuivasa out. You could tell Tuivasa was struggling to stay on this. He really did not want to go down. And
Yeah.
Cyril Gane he finished the job. He put him out and he wins this fight.
Yep. Cyril
And
Gane wins this
and just,
fight.
and just like how I said about Robert Whitaker in the middleweight division, Cyril Gane, who is number 1 in the heavyweight rankings right now, again shows that he is, I think, the second best heavyweight in this division.
Yep.
And I still believe he will be world champion one day. He was interim champion, but I still believe he will be undisputed world champion.
Yeah, you gotta there has to be a rematch between him and Francis Ngannou. And if you're Cyril Gane, you know now what to expect. You know what I mean? You can't get surprised a second time. You know what I mean?
No,
Not only do you focus on your stand up game, but you got to work on your wrestling as well.
yeah. I actually think he's the best striker in the heavyweight division. Because remember in his fight with Ngannou decided to wrestle. That shows
Yep.
you everything you need to know right there. He
Yep.
did not because he did not want to stand up with Cyril Gane.
Nope,
He
not at
took him
all.
down, and that also caught Gane by surprise, and that's why he lost that fight. But I think when the rematch does happen, he's going to come much more prepared with the wrestling and his takedown defense.
These guys were former partners.
Yeah,
Former, you know what I mean? Like they knew each other's weaknesses and strengths. So I mean, credit to Ngannou, he knew what he had to do.
exactly. So
Yeah.
So yeah, interesting things to see in the future. But it's just like I said about Robert Whitaker. This guy left no doubt that he is the second best heavyweight in this division,
Yep.
and definitely a future world heavy undisputed champion.
100%, Ricky. So we know what's going to happen with Gane. He's going to get the next title shot, or at least he should.
At least
But
he should.
with Tai Tuivasa, what happens here? I mean, hey, look, you lose to a worthy opponent,
Yeah.
right?
Right.
So you shouldn't fall too much far down. But maybe like another what 2 or 3 string of wins and right back on top.
Yeah, maybe a fight with Tom Aspinall whenever he's ready to come back. That should be interesting right there as well.
Yeah.
I don't know about Curtis Blades. I think they might have some plans for him because Curtis Blades is number 3 in the rankings. But maybe a fight with Tom Aspinall whenever Aspinall's ready. I haven't seen any updates on his injury, but that should be a rebound fight for both guys.
Yeah, let's not forget John Jones in the might come
Whenever
back.
whenever he comes, I mean, a fight with Stipe Miocic is there for him when he comes back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
100%. Well, Ricky, right before we end the show, we got to talk about Jake Paul, man.
Fuck Jake Paul, man. I want to talk about Nate Diaz and Hamza Chimaev this week, bro.
Is that this week?
That's this Saturday, homie.
Man, you know what, man? This wrestling stuff has got my brain scrambled. I totally forgot about that.
Yeah.
Holy crap. We have Hamza Chimaev versus Nate Diaz
this Saturday.
Okay, you know what?
Fuck Jake Paul.
Jake Paul can wait.
Yeah,
he
can wait until whenever that fight's over. Fuck him.
Hamza Chimaev. well, we can talk Jake Paul right after. But Khamzat Chimaev, Ricky, Nate Diaz. This is gonna be a crazy fight.
Crazy fight, or it's gonna be a slaughter. It depends. We'll see what happens. Mostly everybody is predicting a slaughter by Khamzat Chimaev on Nate Diaz. With Nate Diaz being on the way out the door after this fight.
Right.
But here's the thing, man. Look, I'm not gonna say what everyone else is saying because everybody's saying it. Here's what I'll say: don't count out Nate Diaz because he was not supposed to win the first fight against Conor McGregor.
That's true.
All right, he was not supposed to win that fight. That was just a way to continue to build the hype train that was Conor McGregor at that time. Nate Diaz caught him with a straight left to the chin, hurt him. He had the superior conditioning because Conor McGregor is not known for his conditioning, and he submitted him. Who's to say that he can't do that same thing to Khamzat Chimaev?
Yeah, dude, you and I both know. Okay, we literally just seen this with Leon Edwards and Kamaru Usman.
Right.
Nate Diaz is here for a reason. Okay, Nate Diaz is nobody to sneeze at, regardless of what has happened.
And he is very, very, very difficult to finish as well.
100%.
I think he's only been stopped once,
right,
in his career. Him and Nick Diaz as well. Nick, the Diaz brothers have always been known for their conditioning and their iron chin. That's what they've been known for.
One good punch or kick, and it's lights out for anybody.
Exactly.
Doesn't matter how dominant. Again, Kamaru Usman, as dominant as he was, we were literally about to crown him the pound for pound greatest champion or fighter in the UFC, and he gets kicked right in the face,
right,
and it's over. Same thing can happen to someone as dominant as Khamzat Chimaev. I agree with you. I don't see it happening. I could see Khamzat Chimaev winning decisively, convincingly, whatever word you want to use. I can see Khamzat Chimaev coming out on top.
That's the safe money.
Yeah, it is.
It's the safe money. Yeah,
but you can't sleep on someone like as dangerous as he is. Not one bit.
And I actually look, as much as I love Khamzat Chimaev, I would love even more for Nate Diaz to stick it to the UFC on the way out. Like, okay, you guys are planning my funeral. Watch what I'm gonna do.
Dude, that would be.
I'm gonna beat another hype train of yours, and then I'm gonna walk right out the door.
Khamzat Chimaev is the real deal, man.
He is.
We seen what he was able to do with someone like Gilbert Burns. When and that was his biggest test, but everybody before that was just dominated. But the guy's the real deal, man.
Yeah.
I don't know what's gonna happen if Usman will get his rematch or what, but Khamzat Chimaev has to be right there waiting.
Yeah, I mean, if it were up to me, I would give Khamzat the next title shot after this. After if and when he beats Nate Diaz on his pay-per-view.
Right.
Kamaru Usman can still get the title shot whenever he wants. You know what I mean? Because he's been a long-time champion in this division, so he could get it next. But if it were me, I would do Khamzat first, and then give Kamaru the title shot. Out of him being on top for so long.
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
Yeah, I 100%. I agree. I agree with you 100%. Any other fight in that card, Ricky, that stands out to you that you want to?
Any other fight night card coming up? To be quite honest, not really. This is really the.
Talk about on that card.
Oh, on that card. Oh, we got Tony Ferguson moving up to the welterweight division, fighting Li Jingliang. And this is sort of a make and break fight for Tony Ferguson, man.
Yeah, it has to be.
He's on a 4-fight losing streak, bro. He got knocked out viciously by Michael Chandler in his last fight. He needs this win. If he doesn't win this fight, man, I can see the UFC cutting him. If he himself does not decide to retire, but this is Tony Ferguson. He's out of his mind. I don't see him retiring, even if he loses. He wants to fight forever.
Yeah.
So yeah, this is a make and break for him, man. And I hope he wins. I really do hope he wins, man.
Yeah, I agree with you 100%. I remember when he was facing Henry Cejudo for that championship belt, man. He was up there. He was one of the big top dogs. But it's, like you mentioned,
I remember when everybody was hyping up the first fight between him and Khabib Nurmagomedov.
Oh my!
Everybody wanted to see that fight, but then he gets stopped by. Then he gets destroyed. I mean, he didn't get finished, but he got beat up by Justin Gagey,
Yeah,
and
just
basically just ended any hope of a fight between him and Habib. So, if only we would have got that fight, but we probably knew what would have happened anyway. As good as Habib was back in the day,
oh yeah.
and it wasn't that long ago, but it feels like it's been a long time.
I know it really wasn't. It wasn't that long ago, but
It really wasn't that long ago.
like 2 years ago, if anything.
Yeah.
All right, Ricky. Right before we end this, we gotta talk about this match because you on this show have always said you've always called out Jake Paul because you felt like his fights were fixed, and I agreed with you. But you always said if there's anybody that you would want him to fight, it was always someone like Anderson Silva because Anderson Silva wouldn't fix anything.
Yeah.
Well, here we go. It's happening. It's legit. October 29th.
Well, I guess Anderson Silva needs the money, man. I think he's falling on hard times.
You think so?
And I think so. I think he's falling on hard times, bro. I don't know what to make of this fight, man. I really don't. I think, look, credit to Jake Paul for making money and notoriety through this, through boxing, but he still has yet to fought a legit boxer. And you can't convince me that he's a legit boxer himself at all.
All right. Well, here you have a legit fighter.
A striker, yes.
You know what I mean?
An almost 50-year-old Anderson Silva who can still box. Who's just as far as boxing, he's shown that he can still do it, and he's still proven why he was always the best striker in the UFC for a long time, right? I just don't know what to make of this fight, man. I mean, if this was legit, he's not gonna beat Anderson Silva. If this is a legit fight, he's not gonna win. But if he ends up knocking him out, beating him, this shit is fixed to me, bro. I'm sorry.
We're gonna find out soon enough. October 29th, Jake Paul, Anderson Silva. I'm interested in it.
Well, what's your opinion on this?
I more likely agree with you. I think, look, I agree with you. I think if there's anybody that's going to give him the biggest test of his career is going to be someone like Anderson Silva. But you're right. He's 50 years old. This isn't MMA. He's not going to be able to tackle. He's not going to be able to clinch. He's not going to be able to do anything. He's boxing. I don't think I've ever seen Anderson Silva box like that. You know what I mean? Like an actual boxing match.
Well, he did fight, man, but this is Julio Cesar Chavez Jr.
Right.
But Junior is a legit boxer. He's not nowhere near his dad. Nowhere near his fucking dad. But he did beat Junior.
Yeah, you're right.
In a legit boxing fight. Anderson Silva.
I get it. And he did just crush Tito Ortiz, right? But it's like,
but that's Tito Ortiz.
Right, exactly. But that's what I'm trying to say. It's like, man, it's tough. I'm tending to agree with you when it comes to Jake Paul. I think, if he ends up winning, there's always going to be that was it fixed? Because let's be honest, you look at what happened with Floyd Mayweather and Jake Paul. They both came out and said this was all for the money.
Right. It was Logan Paul, right?
Logan Paul. I'm sorry, Logan Paul.
Yeah.
It was all for the money. And how do we know it's not the same thing going on with Jake Paul? Everybody he faces like, hey, look, you're gonna make money automatically. Yeah. Let me knock you out, and then I'll throw you an extra $1 million. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, take a dive. I'll throw you a few million, and there you go.
I do it. Go ahead, bro. Knock me out. You know what I mean? Just make sure the money hits. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But yeah,
I hope that does not happen, man.
I mean, me either. But
Anderson Silva. Anderson Silva, man.
You have nothing else to prove. You're Anderson Silva, though. Like, you're already the GOAT. You know what I mean? But if you're losing to Jake Paul at that advanced age, it's kind of like, oof.
Yeah. But then the next day he'll wake up. Oh, no. He'll be an instant millionaire. So yeah. He ain't gonna give a fuck what we say.
Right, exactly.
Right.
It's gonna be. I don't know. It's interesting. It's interesting. It's interesting to watch. but that's how they get you, man.
I'll stream it.
Right. We'll stream it, right?
Yeah, right.
You're watching the Sports Drip Live podcast, man, alongside my brother Enrique. I'm Jose. Well, Ricky, we went an hour and 20 minutes.
Yes, this was one hell of a show, man. This is all CM Punk and the Elite's fault.
Yeah, for real. One hell of a show for sure. But a good show nonetheless, man. And we have a lot going on in this world of combat sports. So we have plenty to talk about. Next week we'll be back here on Wednesday. We'll review
to UFC 279.
UFC 279.
Ivan Diaz.
Yep, we'll review that. Anything else that comes on with the wrestling side, we'll definitely bring that up. And yeah, we'll talk whatever's boxing, UFC, MMA, Bellator, you name it, wrestling. That's what we're here to do. Ricky, before we end this live, man, anything you want to say to the folks at home watching us?
Thanks for sticking with us, man. Anybody that stuck with us through this almost hour and a half show. I mean, hey, these guys are giving us content, man, and we're here to provide it. So we'll give you our opinion, what we think, what we should do, and we also value your guys' opinion. Let us know how we're doing, and we'll see you guys next week.
Absolutely, man. Couldn't have said it better myself. For Enrique Contreras, my name's Jose Contreras, guys. Thank you once again. And again, we'll be back next Wednesday to talk about UFC 279. Let's go. All right, Rick.
All right. Thanks.